Hello, tribers. I hope you're doing well. I've missed you for the last couple of days. Reason being, I found myself a bit disappointed in myself. I accidentally deleted our very last video in which we spoke about Manchester United in relation to transfers, among other things. How did that come to happen? You know, when you experience slow internet and it appears that you've uploaded the same video twice. So in wanting to correct that, I accidentally deleted our video. That's why when you go to the channel, you'll see that the very last video was about Phil Foden, and yet contrary to that, there was another video there. But anyways, I was quite disappointed because it had gotten good reception. So I did struggle a bit in terms of bringing myself back to the table to do another episode. But anyways, here we are. I hope you guys are doing well. We're done with the first half of the year. We are into the second half of the year. I hope the year is being kind to you. For those it has not been so kind to, I pray that God makes the second half of the year very, very much better for your experience. Anyways, how are you guys doing? I hope you're enjoying the Euros. Personally, it's a bit of a mixed feelings. Like I've said on this channel before, I do think that the Africa Cup of Nations that we watched in January was a much better football tournament as compared to these particular Euros. That's my feelings. We've not been treated to a good number of very entertaining games. I did find some of the games, especially at the round of 16, quite dull. The game between Portugal and Slovenia, I found that dull. The game between England and Slovakia, found that a bit dull. So then, France, Belgium, again, it didn't have the spark that I had hoped that the two sides would give us. No wonder it ended in a 1-0 victory for France. That goal being an own goal, with the participation of Randall Colomwani, who was a second half substitute. So, but the game of Switzerland beating up against Italy, then Spain beating up against Georgia, I think, and then the game between Turkey and Austria, which I thought those were the very entertaining games for the round of 16 games. For me, I found those quite very entertaining, and particularly that game between Austria and Turkey. Oh my God, Turkey did survive. Their goalkeeper making a last-minute save to ensure that they advance to the quarterfinals. But anyways, for you that pay allegiances to particular teams, especially around Europe and in this particular tournament, I do hope you're enjoying the tournament much more than I am. With that said, allow me just give you the update that the quarterfinals are just around the corner, and those will kick off on Friday when the host Germany meets Spain. Ideally, I would have loved this to be our final, given so far how the tournament has been. In that deleted episode, I talked about which have been some of my teams of the tournament so far. It had been Spain, it had been Germany, it had been Switzerland, it had been Austria. Now Austria have been since knocked out under the charges of Ragnick. But so again, so I would have loved Spain versus Germany ideally to be the final. I do think it would have given us a more entertaining final, a more entertaining game, as opposed to it coming at the quarterfinals. But it is what it is. We'll have to watch it at the quarterfinals. That will be at 7 p.m. kickoff East African time, and then Portugal will be up against France at 10 p.m. on Friday for the second quarterfinal game. And then on Saturday we'll have England face off with Switzerland. England were quite very lucky to knock out Slovenia because they needed extra time, and a last-minute equalizer that pushed them into extra time to win it. Gareth Southgate could easily be one of the luckiest men alive after Swiss Beats, in my opinion. On another day, we'll talk about why I do think Swiss Beats is the other luckiest man alive. So on Saturday at 7 p.m., it will be England versus Switzerland. Granit Xhaka for the English Premier League fans and the German Bundesliga fans. That name is very known to you. Very, very decent player. He's had an amazing career ever since he turned 30, because he has been voted, I think, man of the match twice in the group stages out of the 3 games. So clearly he's been very integral. Then Netherlands Netherlands gave us a very, very good game at the round of 16 as they beat up against Romania. I think that was the other game that another person could highlight as a very, very good game at the round of 16. So Netherlands will be meeting up against Turkey at 10 p.m. on Saturday. That's East African time. So those are the quarterfinals of the Euros. If you were to ask me for my predictions in terms of who I think will eventually advance to the semi-finals, Spain versus Germany, I think the hardest to call. Both teams are good. Germany have the home advantage, but Spain have been very electric in this tournament. But we all know Germany is a very good tournament team, so I wouldn't be surprised if they sort of narrowly edge Spain and advance to the semi-finals. Then France, Portugal. France have not been good. They've been poor with all their quality. I do not think they've given us the quality of football that we would expect of them. Neither have Portugal given us that. So it's that game that is also equally hard to call because neither team has really shown us what they are really capable of given the quality of players that are in their locker rooms. So, but I think I would have to tip France for this one just based on sheer luck, not based on what they've both shown us in the tournament so far. But France, if I must mention, have been very good defensively. That defense of Julius Koundé, Theo Hernandez, William Saliba, and then Dayot Upamecano, those guys have been quite decent. England, Switzerland, England have been poor, very, very poor. With all their talent, I do not know if it sort of sometimes feels like Gareth Southgate is trying to fit so many good players into that midfield and forward attacking line that it has not clicked. It has not really clicked. Phil Foden playing alongside, Jude Bellingham, it has not really worked well so far, in my opinion. So this one, I'm tipping Switzerland. And then in Turkey versus Netherlands, very two good sides. I'll go with Netherlands on this one. So those are my predictions for the teams that will advance to the semi-finals of the Euros 2024 that have been played in Germany. So I do expect Germany, I do expect France, I do expect Switzerland and Netherlands to advance. Switzerland could easily be the dark horse of the tournament. So those are my predictions, and that's what I feel. Anyway, moving away from the Euros, I do want us to speak matters transfers because after Bayern Munich have finalized the signing of Michael Olise from Crystal Palace, they have set their targets on João Palhinha from Fulham, the holding midfielder there, the Portuguese international, 28 years of age. They are very, very good player. They did want to sign him earlier on in January, but that deal did go through. But they have now agreed a deal in principle with Fulham of about £47.4 million to sign the Portuguese international from Fulham. So that's very exciting news. I find him a very decent player. Of course, reports in Germany already have it that Bayern Munich are willing to let go of Joshua Kimmich, who has been a usual, suspect in that midfield. Although towards the tail end of last season they were playing him at right back, and then it did feel like they were also willing to let go of Leon Goretzka. So we'll wait and see how all that spans out. But they are on the verge of completing the signing of João Palhinha from Fulham. Moving away from Bayern Munich, we'll go to Arsenal. The Gunners are very much interested in signing Italian defender, that is Riccardo Calafiori, the Bologna 22-year-old Italian international, is the wanted man by Arsenal. But Arsenal are not the only team that are interested in his services. He's a left-footed centre-back who can also play at left back, and we all know that Arsenal do want to strengthen their left back position, despite the availability of Zinchenko, the availability of the dynamic Takahiro Tomiyasu, the Yurian Timber, and then Jakub Kiwior. They do want a man for that role. So But they are competing for the Italian international with Juventus, who are also interested in his signature, as well as Chelsea. Now, according to reports in Italy, there has been a breakdown of relations between Bologna and Juventus in the manner in which Juventus scooped the Bologna then manager in Thiago Motta, who has since joined Juventus, Juventus having sacked Massimiliano Allegri at the tail end of last season. So it is being reported that because of the breakdown in relationship, it will be a hard deal for Bologna to do with Juventus, despite the fact that the players, first priority is with Juventus, and it is reported that he had given them the green light to go ahead and negotiate with the club, as he would be really interested in joining them. This kind of feels like a Dusan Vlahovic deal once you have Juventus in the picture, as an Arsenal, Emanuele Locatelli deal. So Dusan Vlahovic was leaving Fiorentina. That kind of thing anyway, whichever it was. So you do get those sort of vibes. And then it is reported that it will cost them a fee of above £40 million. It is reported that his former club in FC Basel in Switzerland do have a sell-on clause, which grants them about between 40 to 50% of the transfer fees. So that's why it will be a bit more expensive. And it is not the first time that Arsenal have expressed, interest in Riccardo Calafiori, because before he joined Bologna, they did have interest in the player, although that deal did materialize, and then eventually they signed Jakub Kivio. So anyway, that's the key news from that Arsenal side. Our reports do also say that Arsenal are planning to sign a German football player. Now, that player has not been named. But it is reported that at the end of the Euros, Arsenal are more likely to sign a German player. Will it be Leroy Sané from Bayern Munich? Will it be Jamal Musiala from the same team? Will it be Watts? There's a little bit of speculation. Will it be Joshua Kimmich? For now, we can only speculate because we do not know with any absolute level of certainty. That's why I'll avoid you, or I will spare you the bore of the bigger chunk of the rumors of the other plenty of players that are linked with, moves to Arsenal, be it goalkeepers, be it strikers, be it midfielders. But of course, as far as Arsenal's striking role is concerned, recent, concrete reports have only zeroed down to two names in Victor Grokaes as well as Victor Osimhen. So that's it, the news around Arsenal. But the deal for Riccardo Calafiori is one to keep your eyes on to, because Arsenal are really interested in the player, and you could see him as a potential replacement for Jakub Kivio, although the two players are a little bit different in terms of playing style. But Jakub Kivio is a wanted man by AC Milan as well as Juventus. So there's that. So in case Arsenal are able to land Riccardo Calafiori, don't be surprised if then they are very much willing to let go of the Polish international in Jakub Kivio. Then moving on to Chelsea. Chelsea have, I think, completed their fifth signing of the summer when they landed the services of the 25-year-old English international in Kenan Brisbury Hall from Leicester City. Very, very decent midfielder there. Of course, he did work under Enzo Maresca last season when Enzo Maresca was at Leicester City. He is now the new boss at Chelsea. So clearly, the chemistry is already there between the player and the manager. Chelsea have completed that signing in a deal that is believed to be worth £30 million. But before that, of course, do know they had signed Tosin Aderabio on a free transfer after his contract had ended with Fulham. But in between there, they've signed three other players. So one of those three players is Estavio Willian, I hope I pronounced that name really correctly, who they signed for £30 million from Palmeiras. He will stay with Palmeiras for the next 1 year, so he will be joining Chelsea next summer as opposed to joining them this summer. Then they've also completed the signing of Mark Gui, who they signed for about £5 million, as well as signing Omari Kelman, who they signed for about £19 million. Now, for a team that just yesterday was in the speculation of being in potential breach of the financial fair play rules, kinda it is a little bit questionable that they are making all these moves without moving on so many players. But anyway, we'll leave that to the footballing authorities in the UK to debate and discuss who has flouted the rules and who hasn't, and stick to the news. But it looks like Tony Bolly and his partners are still have their bank open to bankroll Enzo Maresca in bringing whichever player that they may please. So that Dewsbury Hall joins the Blues there. That's the key news from that camp. Anyways, moving away from London teams and taking the flight all the way to Manchester, where Manchester United are interested in signing former Ajax defender Mattijs de Ligt. We all know he's at Bayern Munich, but at Bayern Munich, it looks like it's not been really pretty for him there. So he is open to leaving them and has given Manchester United the green light. Of course, United being under the charges of Erik ten Hag, who are his former manager at Ajax. Remember that team that had the likes of Donny van de Beek, the likes of this Barcelona midfielder, Frankie de Jong. So that team that was under, Erik ten Hag, that really performed, I think, very, very well in the UEFA Champions League. So he did leave Ajax and joined Juventus, and it is from Juventus that he joined Bayern Munich. So Manchester United are interested in signing the 24-year-old Dutch centre-back. We also know that they do hold interest in Gerard Braithwaite of Everton. The 21-year-old there is of interest to Manchester United, although the two parties are yet to see eye to eye in terms of asking price and versus what Manchester United are willing to pay, because it is reported that Everton are seeking a fee in the region of £75 million, while Manchester United's valuation is still below £50 million. So the two clubs are yet to agree to terms. So as far as the delete deal is concerned, the two clubs have started to engage after the player signaled that he would be very opening to joining the Red Devils, and we all know that Manchester United are more than desperate to strengthen that centre back as well as other positions of the pitch, and we do expect that they could sign at least two midfielders before the end of this transfer window, as well as a forward, with Joshua Zirkzee among the potential targets for the Red Devils there. So anyways, that's some of the key transfer news from some of your best clubs. Of course, there's a lot of news out there. There's a lot of rumors and gossip making the trade. But like I did promise you, that we'll keep focusing on the key news or the key issues when it comes to transfers this summer, as opposed to rambling about each and every piece of news. Like I keep mentioning, transfer business has really been slowed down because of the Euros that are ongoing in Germany. But once those are done by midway this month, be rest assured that most of those clubs will be quite very, very busy in the market. Clubs are resuming their pre-season engagements. We all know that Manchester United, Liverpool, as well as AFC Bournemouth in the UK, and Arsenal will be guests in the United States of America during the course of the preseason, where they will play some games. I do know that those four clubs Arsenal will face those three clubs while on their tour in the US before returning home, I think, for their Emirates Cup, among other engagements. Of course, Arne Slot has started his, engagements or work at Liverpool. So, and then, of course, as manager Erik ten Hag focuses on his Manchester United. We do know that Danny Ashworth has formally joined Manchester United as the sporting director. So clearly, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has assembled the right team to work with manager Erik ten Hag to continue with this project of Manchester United under manager Erik ten Hag. Anyways, That's it for me from the Football Tribe YouTube channel desk. Keep it locked on the channel. Keep your eyes peeled out. If you're new, do not forget to kindly subscribe to the channel. And if you're a usual suspect, like my friends Precious, Alex, among many others that constantly do watch my content, I do not take your time for granted. Otherwise, thank you for always taking the time, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed.